Hello everyone, it is Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. I really shouldn't do this after work, after I've been talking all day. But anyway, today I'm going to do a monthly planner update. And because I'm not doing my regular weekly plan with me's like I used to last year, I think I'm going to do these planner updates monthly just to give you really an update on how everything is going for me. So this is what my planner stack looks like currently. And I guess it's good to do a monthly, what we call a Techo Kaigi, to just reflect on how the system is working and whether it is still bringing me the joy that I wanted it to bring when I first decided that this was my lineup. So we've got my ink journal, my pen and ink journal, as well as the, I guess, doodle journal here. We've got my two multi-year journals here. Then we've got my planner and then this other 5-year journal here. So let's move all of that to the side here so I can focus on each planner specifically. So here we've got my passport planner, and this cover was actually given to me by my brother's fiance for Christmas. So then I'm trying it out. Just now I have 3 different covers, which is very exciting. So then I have my Traveler's Company charm here, and when I open it, we've got, firstly, there is a plastic sleeve here, and I won't open it fully because this part also has, or the inside cover of this has credit card pockets, and then you've got the credit card plastic sleeves here, and then we have the cloth zip cover from, I believe it's I can't remember. Is it Midori? I bought that off Amazon. And then I have this insert here from Traveler's Company that I use as my social media planner, my content planner. And that's actually working out okay. I basically list all the videos that I want to post, and you can see the difference between December and January, how I'm spacing out my videos differently. One thing I do want to incorporate in here is actually put in my monthly YouTube stats. I haven't been really great at keeping my stats somewhere. I just rely on my YouTube, well, what is it even called? Oh my goodness, my brain, the YouTube Studio, and I just look at that for all of my stats. But I think it would be cool to have all of the stats in here just to keep track of the number of subscribers, number of views, revenue, things like that. And then we've got February. We've written out March, but we've got February in here. And then I'm using these little Memo Me stickers that I got from Stationery Pal to basically kind of plan out my content. And even when I've got it planned out, I still wipe things out because things change last minute. It depends on what I feel like filming most of the time. And I think something that's definitely changed about my channel this year is that I just remember, like, years ago, maybe even four or 5 years ago, when I was doing like 7 or 8 videos a week. It was very, very structured. I knew exactly what videos I was doing every week, and a lot of it were, the same videos each week, just a different type of plan with me. Whereas the way that my channel is now, it really is a lot more different content every week. And even that has been a little bit difficult, but there is some content that's going to be a little bit more consistent on a month-to-month basis. Like, for example, that pen and ink pairing. I plan to do that with as many of my pens in my collection as I can because that's just a fun little exercise. I will still do a week in my planner and my journal, and I'll do that every month just to give you an idea of how everything is going. There's going to be the occasional ink haul and things like that, the occasional new pen day, but I also want to do things like years later review of specific pens and things like that. So that's the social media planner, and that's working out well in there. And then I've got my little Amarillo stationery, little patch there. And then here we have my Planner Monkey Co. passport notebook that basically ripped out a few signatures and then added this book tape to make sure that it actually holds up well. And it has been. So in the front portion here, I put a calendar sticker from the Coffee Monsters Co. And then I did all of this and realized I haven't actually used it. I was going to use that as a habit tracker, but because I'm working well with the habit tracker that I've got in my weekly spread, I don't actually need this anymore, and I'm okay with that. because even in the monthly spreads here in this passport planner, I'm using it as my, forward planning. Couldn't figure out the word, forward planning. So putting in appointments and things before I actually put it in the weekly spread. And then in the fun sections, I guess in my collection sections, you know, going into movies watched, and this is more new movies rather than rewatching old movies. And then my stationery purchases, I'm actually pretty surprised at that. I've only had 2, and it is the 29th of January. And then, oh, hold on here. And I also have books read. I've on my 5th book of the year, which is so much further ahead than where I was last year. Like in the first 2 weeks of January, I was just listening to audiobook and audiobook and really enjoyed it. Took a little break, and now I'm on my 5th one. So I'm hoping to finish that 5th book within the next few days. But it's been fun to have this at the front of my planner, just so that I can, you know, see what's going on. I just realized I didn't have my microphone on, so I was recording through the mic on my phone. So I apologize. But I really like this section. It's just a fun little section to do, you know, to keep track of like it's more of like my small little movie journal or book journal, and I don't have to have it separate from everything. And then when we go to my weeklies, I'm using this little paper clip that I can't even remember where I got it. I think my parents got it for me, and I can't remember the exact store. But if we go to the weeklies, you'll notice I started using this, I believe, in November, and it's been really good for me so far. I was working with 3 columns and, you know, just 1 column for weather, and then anything in my schedule, and then a to-do list. And then I think it was, here we go, the 2nd week of December that I decided to try a different layout inspired by Ina Christina and doing 2 different columns. And I'm actually really liking this layout much better. I feel like I've got more space for any appointments or anything scheduled, and then just the space that I need for a to-do list, and then still space down here to do my habit tracking. I've been able to condense my habit tracking from, let's see here, because I had a way that I was doing my habit tracking, in a previous spread, which I'll show you here. This was my testing out how I was going to do my habit tracking. And I had originally done habit tracking like this, where I had workouts on one side and then the actual habits on the other, and then the days of the week. But then I realized I don't really need to keep track of the specific workouts or names of the workouts. So now my habit tracker has basically my usual habits. So the first 4 of the habits, and then the last one there is for my workouts, or what week of my workouts I'm on. So my habit tracker, which I was afraid wouldn't fit in this, now fits in here beautifully, and I am loving that. And just what I've used, so stickers from According to Allie, from the washi tape shop, and this one is also from the washi tape shop, from the winter collection from According to Allie, and this is from the Happy Planner. And then this week are some stickers from the Giving Girl. Really enjoying this layout, and I am loving the size of it. I love being able to use my extra fine Pilot Vanishing Point nib in here, and I love the size because there's little pressure to completely fill it with stickers. I went from an A5 to a Hobonichi Weeks to a Passport, and I am really enjoying this size. I feel like this just works for my writing and for what I need on a day-to-day basis. So that is my Passport planner, and I spent a long time talking about that, so I apologize. Loving this though. I will link the cover in the description because my brother's fiance did purchase it from Amazon if you're interested. All right, so then the next thing that's on the pile here is this Q&A a day journal. I purchased this at Indigo, and it's been going, I guess, well, filling in 1 question a day. I am a little bit behind. I think I'm on, what day? I'm on maybe like 2 or 3 days behind, which is not bad because it's only 1 line a day. If I get a little bit behind, then I'll just backfill what I can. But it's not working, or it is working quite well, and I think it's such a cute little thing, and I'm interested to see what the answers will be next year. But I also like this is low pressure because it doesn't require pages and pages of writing. It's literally, what is the answer to this question? Ooh, which art movement best describes you today? I have no idea, actually. And then, how do you describe home? What was the last TV show you watched? That would be Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey. Side note, I don't watch like regular cable TV anymore. It's normally whatever's on my streaming services. But anyway, love that this is just low pressure, and it's more just a fun little exercise to do, and just to remind me that, you know, journaling doesn't have to be writing about the deepest, darkest things that we're going through. It could just be just a fun little question. Love that. So then the next one is actually my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal. And this one, I am a little behind, and I'm okay with that. I'm about 2 weeks behind in catching up in this, but I'm not too worried about catching up in this, because I have most of my day-to-day in my A5 multi-year journal, so I can go back in here and fill out each day, it literally only takes me like 3 to 5 minutes, so I can catch up in like a good hour with this here. But I love that I'm filling out the 5th year in this, which is crazy to me that I started this in 2022, and here I am finishing this in 2026, or filling out the 5th year in 2026. And it's just that consistency over time, and I can't believe I'm at the 5th year here. Very excited, and it motivates me. The more that I do this, the more that I'm motivated to continue and to finish. So yeah, while I'm a little bit behind on this, I'm not too worried, because I know I can catch up. So that is my 5-year journal. If you're not familiar with this here, basically with my 5-year journal, I ink it up with a different pen and ink every month, and then I keep track of it in the back here. And then what I write in my day-to-day is really just a little synopsis of what my family and I have done that day, the weather, and something that I'm grateful for. It's actually really cute, because there was one day quite a few months ago where I basically picked this up and I said, you know what we did this time last year? We did this and this, we watched this movie, and this was the weather. And it was just so fun to be able to have this record of that day from how many years ago, and be able to speak to my kids about that. So I just love this for that. So that is my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal. Now we're coming to, I'm actually going to leave this one for last, but now we're coming to my pen and ink journals here. And these ones are fun ones. They're not necessarily ones that I have to write in every day, but this pen and ink journal really is just about my currently inks, the acquisitions that I make, my 15 inks in 30 days, just really a chronicle, if that's the correct word, for how my fountain pen and fountain pen ink journey has been over the year. It's a fun journal. It's not meant to be stressful or anything like that. And I fill it in as we go. Like, that was a fun project that I did. I want to actually print off a photo of my Just Turnings pastel primary manipulation and put that in here. So loving this so far. And then this one is the Hemlock and Oak with their new Archivist 70 GSM paper, and I'm using this for the paper swatches and the doodles. And this paper is really, really great. It's performing really well, not a lot of shadowing or bleed through, and that's how I'm able to basically do one day on one side and do the other day on the other side. And this is going to be so fat and chunky when I'm done. I cannot wait. But it's just a great way to be able to compare all of the pen and ink pairings, and just have a fun place to do all the doodles and paper swatches. This is going to be so fun to look through once it's done. So those, my pen and ink journal and my doodle journal, super fun, low pressure. Although saying that, when I did show off my pen and ink journals at the end of the year, I did get a comment from a viewer who, I don't know if they praised me for the amount of detail that I put into this, or if they were just astonished that I could put the amount of detail into this. And this is not a requirement to be part of the fountain pen community. This is just something that I do for myself because it's fun, and doing these doodles helps to relax me, but also the I guess, type A person in me likes to be able to see all of the different papers so I can test how they all look, because it's scientific for me to be able to see all that. So just because I do this doesn't mean you have to, and just because I do this, it doesn't mean that I'm, you know, crazy or anything. It's just, this is the way my brain works, and this is what helps me with my hobby. All right, last but not least, here is my A5 Planner Monkey Co. notebook that I use as a multi-year journal. I'm not going to open this because this one is the journal that is more private, and I don't know if I can show anything in here really, but basically I'll show you half. Over the course of 2 pages, I split it into quarters, and then each quarter is 1 day out of that year. So I'll be able to use this journal for 4 years. And it's been great to be able to look back on even last year's entry and see how much has changed since then. I think I remember reading an entry about how I felt at work this time last year, where I was still about maybe 7 months into my new job. And here I am a year later, and it's interesting to me how my mindset has changed, how my confidence has changed in the course of a year. And that's what I love about a multi-year journal, is to be able to look back on previous entries. And I didn't feel like I could always do that with my previous journals, because then I'd have to dig them out of my closet and then make the effort to read them. Whereas this, it's my previous entry is right there while I'm writing in my new entry. So loving this, really loving this. And I'm sticking with that very well, very consistently with this. Okay. All right. I'm like looking at my pile here and I'm like, how are we doing? So pen and ink journal going well. The 4-year or the multi-year journal going well. My planner, still amazing, still loving the size. And then I've got my 2 5-year journals here, one that I need to catch up on, but I'm not too worried. And then one that is just a fun little exercise. It's nice to have those prompts on a day-to-day basis to just think about journaling slightly differently. Whew. All right, that is it for my planner update. I think being able to go through this on a month-to-month basis will help me just to see if these are still serving the purpose that I wanted them to. But also then you get to see all of like the little plans and the stickers that I've used and how I use my passport planner. Because funny enough, when I used to post like weekly plan with me's for everything, but also how I filled these in, it was interesting to just see how life has changed and how it affects how I use my planners. So really interesting to see that I'm in this space of my life where my planner is the smallest thing, and you know, my journal is the size that it is. Just even that in itself is, I guess, a good way to, what am I trying to say? Just to look at where you are in your life and looking at what your journals are. You know, your journals could be a reflection of where you are in your life currently. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying now. It's time to go and have dinner. All right, if you have any questions about my little planner reflection update, Techo Kaigi, please let me know down below. How are you doing with your planners and journals a month into the year? Are they working out for you? Are they not? And if they're not, that's okay. You know, finding what works for you is also part of the journey. Don't try and stick with anything that's not bringing you joy. All right, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. Thanks again, and have yourselves a great day.